Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome back to the second session of two for our daily questions and answers. And when I mean daily, I'm talking about weekdays rather than weekends. We get days off on the weekends, alhamdulillah, so we're not here on Saturday, Sunday to deliver our Q&A. But Monday to Friday, as you know, mashallah, Monday to Friday, we have our Q&A just after 7 p.m. up until 8 p.m., trying to deliver a service to you at home to deal with your queries, your questions, and your peculiarities that you may have. We had our call from our youngster from all the way down in Leicester, raising two pertinent questions. One is a very specific question regarding a musafir and his prayer, and the second one with regards to something which might be a regular occurrence amongst us nowadays, which unfortunately happens too often. The fact of, sort of breaking relationships, falling out with each other, and all the rest of it. Hopefully you dealt with both. We didn't get a call back, so I'm assuming we have a satisfied customer, we have a satisfied person with the query, because we were a little bit unsure about the question with regards to safar, but alhamdulillah, I think that's all been done. So whilst you are sat at home thinking of what to do next, well, let me tell you what you can do next. That is, you pick your phone up and dial 01274 214299. That's 01274 214299, and ring into the studio with your question. Surely it's been weeks since you last raised a question. You're telling me there's no burning question inside your head, inside your heart, that you want clarifying. Come on, we are inundated with all sorts of philosophies. We are inundated with all sorts of practices. We're inundated with all sorts of things going on, and you're telling me we don't have a response to it. Sometimes, you see, it's issues that we're going through day to day. It's wedding season. It's always wedding season, isn't it? People say, oh, it's wedding season now, and you always think, well, actually, isn't it always wedding season? You're always driving around and there's some fireworks going off somewhere, or there's cars beeping their horns, or all the rest of it, people dressed up in their fine dresses and clothes and all the rest of it, attending weddings. So it is wedding season. I guess it's more wedding season than not. Some things we need to be a little bit concerned about, my dear brothers and sisters, in wedding season. I know we get a little bit carried away in wedding season. Thing is that what you fail to realize is Allah is continuously observing. He is watching. He is aware of what you're doing. And then we find, unfortunately, that we just organize a wedding of our son or our daughter. We're very happy. We're so happy we do strange and silly things. And then within a month or 2 months, we start hearing the arguments, people falling out with each other, people not getting on with each other. Now, why should that come as a surprise to us? Because it does. You get so many people saying, oh, I can't believe it. Why can't you believe it? If we arrange our marriages in such a way that we're bringing Allah's displeasure, if we're arranging our marriage in such a way that does not bring His barakah, even though the first thing that the Prophet ﷺ taught us as soon as somebody is married, barakallahu lakuma wa baraka alaykuma wa jama'a baynakuma fi khair, that oh, Allah put barakah upon you and join you in barakah and goodness. So barakah is something that we seek for the newly married couple, the husband and wife. We seek for them barakah. But how can there be barakah when there is the disengagement of Allah? How can there be barakah when there is the refusal of obeying Allah's laws? How can there be barakah when there's negating what He's asked us to do? Think about it. It's absolute common sense that there's nothing wrong with being happy. There's nothing wrong with enjoying, but keep within the boundaries the Sharia set. These are set for your benefit. Many people think, oh, the Sharia is just so strict. The Sharia is so boring. The Sharia is so burdensome. Astaghfirullah, even if these thoughts go through a person's mind, you should repent, because what they're saying is that God's laws, Allah's laws are bad. And that is such a dangerous thing to say, because if it does not bring a person out of the fold of Islam, it brings a person pretty darn close. These are dangerous things to say. He does them to protect us. He does them to protect us, because then we start to fall into, because then we need that high all the time. We need some kind of thing of celebration. We want to, isn't it strange how we want to just let go? We want to kind of like go a bit wild, go a little bit crazy. Why does that, make us feel good? As with most things that are bad for us, we always get the instant hit. The little kind of, the little satisfaction. Okay, but anyway, I'm going to carry on this conversation shortly. We've had somebody call in on 01274 214299. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, dear caller.
Wa alaikum salam. I've just got a question, and I just wanted to ask, it's about sadaqah. So when you make the intention of sadaqah, should you make the intention of sadaqah or should it be sadaqah jariyah? Because my intention always is, when I give sadaqah, it's to benefit me in this life and the hereafter.
Okay, Jazakallah khair, my dear sister.
Jazakallah khair.
Assalamu wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So a sister asked the question that when you're making niyyah to give some sadaqah, should you be making it just on sadaqah, or should you be adding the sadaqah jariyah? And I'll explain the difference between the two. Sadaqah is a broad term for giving charity. It's in reality, it's a transaction. We're all doing business with Allah, and it's a transaction. And what you're saying to Allah is, oh Allah, I'm going to take some halal earned money of mine, something that I worked hard for, and I'm going to give this in your path. I'm going to spend this where you want me to spend it. You want me to spend it on the poor. You want me to spend it on the oppressed. You want me to spend it upon those who are vulnerable. So I'm going to spend my money, O Allah, on the vulnerable, on the oppressed, on the poor, on the people who've got nobody else. In exchange, O Allah, like our dear sister said, she makes the niyyah that, O Allah, benefit me from this sadaqah in the dunya and benefit me in the hereafter. So in the dunya, what will happen is then our dear sister and others who give sadaqah, it will soften their heart. When it softens your heart, then what happens is you become a good-hearted person. We know that dunya is a hard place, and in times it can be a very cruel place. Okay, it can be a very cruel place, and sometimes that cruelty can come from within our own intimate circles, our own family members. And unfortunately, what that can do is it can make us cruel. It can make us evil. In a way, we kind of feel that, oh, well, you know, evil's come my way. You know, I've had to put up with so much hardship and so much pain and so much sacrifice and so much hurt. I'm now going to kind of go out there to kind of, not necessarily to avoid it being inflicted on me, I'm going to go inflict it on others. So before even someone's had a chance to inflict it upon me, I'm going to go inflict it on. So you become hard-hearted. So what sadaqah does is softens the heart. And when you are soft heart, then generally speaking, you will always be good, because soft-hearted people are good. It's obvious. You'll see people around you, those people who we say are sada, those people who we say, you know, he's got a good heart. We're talking about somebody who's got soft heart, somebody who's got tenderness in their heart, somebody who has mercy in their heart, somebody who's got, you know, positivity in their heart. You can tell a good person from a bad person just by their characteristics, by their traits. So sadaqah helps. So like our sister, she makes the niyyah, oh Allah, let this sadaqah benefit me in the dunya, and that's how it will benefit her in the dunya. How does it benefit her in the hereafter rather? That's the transactional side I spoke about. So if she gives a fiver, she gives a tenner, she gives a £20, she gives £30, then she's expecting Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to reward her adequately. So whether he chooses her to give 10 times as much she is given, so let's just say she gives £30, then the minimum she's going to expect is £300 or its equivalent in the hereafter, because we know pound sterling is not the currency in Jannah. Like when we go to another country, we can't use pound sterling in that other country. If we go to Pakistan, then we're going to have to convert it to rupees. If we go to India, we're going to have to convert it to rupees. If we go to France, we're going to have to convert it to euros. If we go to the States, we're going to have to convert it to dollars. If we go, whatever, we have to, if we go to Al-Aqsa, we have to convert it to shekels. Wherever we go, we have to convert it to that particular currency, because they'll say, sorry, we will convert that currency for you, but you cannot use that currency in our shops. You cannot use that currency to buy food or whatever. You're going to have to convert it to our currency. Jannah is no different. When we turn up in Jannah, there is no, you're not going to take money with you like we can take when we're going to another country. We can take money with us. We can take our bank card with us and, put it into the ATM and get out, whatever money. In that world, everything you have to send from here. So when our dear sister gives £30, then it will be multiplied by 10 times. So she'll either get £300 in return, up to 700 times. So let me just do a quick calculation. Maths is not all that at the moment. So 700, where are we? 700 times 30 is £21,000. So if somebody gives £30, so forget the benefit in the dunya, if someone gives £30, then it will be anything between £300 to £21,000. It's equivalent. And more. That's just a figure given to motivate us. What Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives extra is up to Him. Okay, and we know Allah is generous. You could have a business partner and you enter into business with a business partner and you say to them that, I will get you business deals, and they say, fine, every business deal you get to us, we will give you 10%. So we'll give you 10% of the profit. So you'd get a business deal over the line, they give you 10% of the profit. Let's just say the business deal is worth £10,000. You quickly calculate, that means £1,000 for me, they'll give you £1,000. But one day what they do is they give you £1,500 or they give you £2,000. So you say, hold on a second here, you guys are giving me £2,000. The agreement in the partnership was you'll give me 10%. Now I'm not that bad at maths, but £10,000, 10% is £1,000. Why have you given me £2,000? They'll say, yeah, our agreement is £10,000, but we wanted to give you something extra. Now that's the kind of generosity we might expect from a generous person in the dunya. Imagine the generosity of Allah. Remember, the generosity of a person is based on what they have. So if a person has 100 grand, he might think, I don't care about giving another £500 to this person, another £1,000. It'll motivate this person. This person will go get me more deals now if I give him £1,000 extra, because I've got 100 grand. Even then, he has a limited amount. Even if he's got 1 million, even if he's got 5 million, he's got a limited amount. With Allah, there is no limit. So do you think it's really going to concern him if he says, okay, here's £500,000, and you say, well, Allah, I don't get this. I gave £30 in the dunya, and I know from your ayats of the Quran and from the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ that I should be expecting something in the region of 300 to 21,000. Why have you given me 150,000? Why have you given me 280,000? Why have you given me 1.5 million? Why have you given me 10.5 million or its equivalent? Why have you done that? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, it's my generosity. I can give, or words to that effect, I can give what I choose to give. Okay? So it's a transaction, and that is what we get. And we're always looking for good deals, aren't we? We're looking for, the estimated returns. Big investors, whenever they invest, they're always looking at what's the returns. Okay, what are we going to expect to get back? And they'll see 5% returns, 10% returns, 20% returns. Rarely do you go past 5%, 10%. Generally speaking, if you get a deal where you're getting 10% returns, that's a good deal. Okay, that's a very good deal. Because A, it's guaranteed, and B, you're getting it. So, that's something for us to think about. So then the question comes, okay, sadaqah and sadaqah jariyah. What's the difference? Sadaqah is something which is pretty much, A, used as a general term, and secondly, it's used for something which is very finite. Sadaqah jariyah is something which is used, which is not finite. It's not infinite either, but it's more longer term. Let me give you an example. You buy a cup of coffee for a person who's thirsty. So you spend £1 and you buy a person a cup of coffee. So that person gets a cup of coffee, give him that £1, he drinks a cup of coffee. With that cup of coffee, it quenches his thirst and also gives him a little bit of energy. And so now this person using that cup of coffee has got enough calories to, survive for another 2-3 hours. You will get the thawab for those 2-3 hours. Why? Because you gave him something, you gave him sadaqah, that sadaqah he used, and that gave him nourishment, energy, gave him life, whatever, for 3 hours. So you'll get the reward for that. After 3 hours though, the coffee is gone. It's not going to replenish itself, it's gone. And also eventually he's going to use up all the good stuff from the coffee, and eventually he's going to, answer the call of nature, and it's gone. Sadaqah jariyah is different. It is that type of sadaqah which is perpetual. So how can you make sadaqah which is perpetual? It's those type of sadaqah which are somewhat more permanent. That cup of coffee is not permanent. So what are permanent things? Well, a masjid is pretty much permanent. When you have a masjid built, it's going to last for 100, 200, 300, 400 years, maybe longer. If you look back at some of the masjids that were built near the time of the Prophet ﷺ, they're still there now. That's 1400 years. Some masjids that were built in Spain, that's what, nearly 500, 900 years, 1,000 years old. Okay, some aren't used as masjids anymore, but they're still there. So something like a masjid is going to last for a long time. Okay, what else? Well, a well. Well, a well, you get it? You know, well was, anyway, forget that. A well, you know, where you dig something in the ground and water comes out. Now, if that well is going to be there, I know, for example, that when I went to Pakistan as a kid, way back in the day, I think I was about 10 years old. I'm not 10 now. And when I went there was a well in the house that we were staying. There was a well in the courtyard or in the garden or whatever you want to call it in Pakistan. That well is still there. Obviously, I've not seen it, but I've been told it's still there. Well, that was like, 40 years ago. How many people do you think drank water from that well over the last 40 years? And it was there before I went to Pakistan, probably by another 50, 60, 100, 150 years. So that well is going to be there for a long time. Now, whoever financed it, whoever paid for it, now that person is probably long forgotten. Okay, long forgotten. But every person who drinks water from it, every person who quenches their thirst from it, every person who survives as a result of it, that person is getting reward because this is sadaqah jariyah. Okay, building a road, building a hospital, educating a young man, educating a young lady. Why is education sadaqah jariyah? Because if you take a person, a young student, and you pay their fees and they become hafiz of Quran, or you pay their fees and they become a chemical engineer, or you pay their fees and she becomes a doctor, and now she serves the community. You have provided for her, so she doesn't need to beg, she doesn't need to steal, he doesn't need to beg, he doesn't need to steal. So one is you've sorted this person out, this person now will marry, they will have children, so you're now supporting a whole family. On top of that, they will provide for the community, and then they will teach some skills to their young people. So this is something which, again, is perpetual. So you're getting some long-term reward. That's why sadaqah jariyah may be slightly more expensive in cases, but it's a longer-term investment. Whenever you're giving sadaqah, whichever form it takes, think of it in raw financial terms of how can I maximize my money? How can I benefit what I'm spending my money on? It's as simple as that. This is your transaction with Allah. Forget the person involved. Forget whether you think he's taking you for a ride. Forget whether you think, can I trust this person or trust not this person? This person is asking in the name of Allah. This person, zahiri, looks like he's in need. Apparently looks like he's in need. Looks clearly like they're in a state of difficulty. You support that. Your transaction is with Allah. Allah is your witness. The angels are your witnesses. They're writing down your niyyah is in your heart. So where you can, sadaqah jariyah, but there are certain circumstances where you have to give sadaqah. For example, hardship. There's a flood, say, or there's an earthquake. Now, you haven't got time to start building houses. You haven't got time to start building, planting crops. How are you going to do that? Because it's a flood, it's an earthquake. People need food. So in that time, you can see that sadaqah is more virtuous than sadaqah jariyah. Why? Because there's an immediate need for food. And if you don't provide that food for these people, or if you don't provide water for these people, or if you don't provide medical assistance for these people are going to die. There's no point investing for 2 years from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, when they're going to die in the next week or 2 weeks. So there, in those cases, sadaqah takes a more priority over sadaqah jariyah. This is why I said to you again that whenever a mas'ala comes, we can give a general answer, which is what we normally do. That's a general answer, but the specific circumstances will alter that answer. So just that example I gave you there, that generally speaking, sadaqah jariyah is superior because of what the returns you're getting. However, in certain circumstances, sadaqah is more superior because it meets the immediate need. Hence the reason why we should be asking rightfully guided ulama that the body of ulama respect and honor and hold in high regard. So we can say, well, we did our due diligence. We made sure that we asked a person who we believe to be of sound understanding the question. They gave us this answer, oh Allah, and we acted accordingly. You are then absolved of that responsibility because there is another person who the community hold in high esteem, hold in high respect. You pose your question to them. You've gone through the due process. It's now on them. It's not on you. And at the end of the day, that's what this dunya is about. This dunya is about getting through as unscathed and as unharmed as possible. Anyway, jazakallah khair for that call, sister. 2 nice calls, filled both sessions. See you tomorrow, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.